Chair, thank you. Thank you for your efforts to bring us closer on this. And I concur with the opinion that this is a matter of importance for the whole membership. And so the Assembly could be a perfect setting for that discussion. But I'm still struggling with the agenda item related aspect. I'm struggling with that because we might be here too creative in order to address some of the substantive issues, and I would be rather cautious in that respect. That to say that Brazil is in your hands, we would be okay with, we would have the same preference as you personally stated. We would have this as an agenda item for the 147 EB meeting right after the Assembly, to have this study ready by May, then the same effect, and further discussions if necessary next year at the Assembly. But we can go with the proposal, if that's consensus here, we can go with the proposal of dealing with this under the reform, WHO reform, as long as this does not represent the addition of an item to the World Health Assembly. If someone here interprets this as we adding up an agenda item to the WHO, Brazil is not in a position to follow. Just to be clear and on the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, may I propose excuse me, sorry, Tajikistan, floor is yours.
Thank you. Bearing in mind the difficulty and the complexity of this issue, we support the idea of giving this further consideration at EB 147. We think that would be the most appropriate way of proceeding. It would be better to look at this at the 147th EB, given its complexity. Thank you.
So I received excellent advice from Secretariat. Create consensus. Excellent advice. That is what I'm going to do. So I think there's some views is EV 147 and White House Assembly 73. Do you have any expression of which way to go? I think I would like to build consensus. That is my laws. Any views? Any views? Those who are supporting and is World Health Assembly 73, I am. The reason why you know me very well, I'm very much concerned about additional further agenda item already crowded. And most of us are eating sandwich for 6 times already. And I do not want World Health Assembly President and others to do the same. That is for 4.5 days, so sandwich will be 12 times. But let's see how it goes. Italy, you have the floor.
Chair, thank you very much. Just a short remark to underline the importance of this issue for many member states, even within the EU, as we have been thinking and coordinating on this matter for a long time. We would so ask to make an additional effort here and to allow for the possibility of this item to be already discussed at WHA, which I sense would be in the general interest of the membership, even those who are not necessarily here present at the table. if this flexibility is allowed, I think that all member states will do their best to contribute in a positive and constructive manner on this issue, even including the proposals that are being tabled on new health days in a very constructive spirit. That I can assure. Thank you very much.
Microphone, please.
Let me repeat. I would like to give floor to Kenya and Finland and Eswatini. Kenya, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think Kenya would like to align with Brazil, and we propose maybe EB 147. I think that is the position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finland.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all the members that you have for your contributions to this issue, which is, I think, also a great importance that we really base our decisions on evidence and thorough look into these issues and processes. But given that Secretariat said and promised us that they will be able to give us this information already in WHA, so I will support Germany and Italy that we could have this discussion already in coming WHA under the item of transform.
Now I would like to give floor to Eswatini, followed by Chile, and then Romania. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I hear that the Secretariat will be ready with the analysis by May. I'm not sure if I'm hearing that very well. Now, if that is the case, it would mean that, in my view, that analysis needs to go through the EB first before it goes to WHA. Is that the case? Because if that is the case, then it would mean we have to consider that in the EB 147. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I think for the sake of the process, may I ask legal whether we need to examine the report at EB first before going to World Health Assembly? Please.
Thank you. Well, again, my answer is it's up to you. I'm sorry, but the normal process, of course, is that agenda items for the EB are prepared for the Assembly are prepared by the Executive Board, but exceptions are made to that, and it is free for. Oh, sorry, my phone is doing odd things. It is open to you and the World Health Assembly to send an item directly to the World Health Assembly without preparing it, and that's happened on other issues too. So I'm afraid it's up to you to decide if you want to do that. It is open to you.
Chile.
Gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Chile can show some flexibility on this aspect, but our preference is to go in line with your proposal and to discuss it during the next EB. Thank you.
Thank you. Romania and then Japan.
Position of Germany on behalf of the European Union to discuss the World Health Days during the World Health Assembly. Thank you.
Japan.
Thank you, Chair. Japan is also flexible on its position on this issue, but given the time constraints, we prefer to have it on EB 147. Thank you very much.
All right, so I think it is Austria. Apologies. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The discussion on the World Health Days is a very important issue, and as it was already explained by our colleague from Italy, we have discussed that very intensively in the EU coordinations. And it's just to indicate our very strong support for the proposal of Germany to discuss that during the WHA and not during the EB afterwards. And we are very confident that the Secretariat will present us a very good report on that. And thank you.
Argentina.
We are flexible on this issue, but we would prefer to have the possibility of analyzing the report by the Secretariat during the next EB. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Zambia, you have the floor.
Very much, Chairperson. Zambia supports the position of Kenya as well as Argentina on this issue of having the EB 147 discuss the report first.
Thank you very much. I think your view is a little bit divided. So my great idea is to suspend and to have some conversation. And also that is implication for World Health Assembly agenda. So as Brazil rightly says that, well, its agenda is added de facto, so why not? So that is problematic because our World Health Assembly, I'm repeatedly saying that's short. So we need some family planning. So I think during because I come from a country where there is very little baby birth, so let me have some conversation and look at a two agenda, and then think about come back again. So I think I would like to suspend agenda item of 22.3, and that is consequently agenda item 13, that the NTD day issue, that will be suspended. And I would also still keep on suspending World Health Assembly's agenda issue. So I would like to would like to go to agenda item 23.2. Excuse me. Excuse me, I think I was quite not so careful. Item 23.2 is evaluation of election of the DG. So I think DG's present is a little bit awkward to discuss. And no. I don't wish to kick him out. That's why. Let's skip to another item. Please, the DG, your presence is very encouraging.
No. You have to continue, no problem.
Oh. Apologies.
No problem.
Thank you. So.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. So I think I will record it as EB chair's history, that the first EB chair who kicked out Director General. So don't misinterpret me. I'm very sorry for that. So. Joke apart, let's coming back to a serious discussion. We shall now consider sub-item 23.2, evaluation of the election of Director General of the World Health Assembly. The report of the chairpersons of the informal consultations on the evaluation of election of the Director General of the World Health Organization is contained in document EV 146/39. The Executive Board is invited to note the report and to consider adopting draft decisions contained in the annex of document EB 14639. I first would like to give the floor to Mr. Alexander Grant Atulakwa, a chairperson of the informal consultations, of the evaluation, of the election of the Director General of the World Health Organization, to present the reports supposedly, but I could not. Oh, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I did not recognize you. So, Mr. Atulakwa, you have the floor. Thank you very much for coming. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to make a few remarks on this item. I would like to first and foremost express my appreciation to Member States for the confidence they reposed in me to lead the important process of consultations on the evaluation of the election of the Director General. I did my best to honor the confidence, and I hope the outcome document meets your high expectations. May I also use this opportunity to thank the Secretariat for their invaluable support, without which the success of the process would have been limited. I'm most grateful. Chair, as you are aware, the Executive Board at its 144th session agreed that an intersectional process takes place to allow for a further discussion of the various specific items contained in document EB 144/35. In line with this decision, informal consultations were held on 20th September and 9th October 2019, during which delegations had opportunity to review the documents item by item, share their views and comments, and made proposals on the way forward. The constructive engagement produced several helpful comments on each of the items in the document, and with the assistance of the Secretariat, to whom I am indebted to, a chairman's summary of the outcome of the consultations was prepared. This summary is contained in document EB 146/39 entitled Evaluation of the Election of the Director General of the World Health Organization, Report of the Chairperson of the Informal Consultations on the Evaluation of the Election of the Director General of the World Health Organization. It is my hope that the Executive Board will take note of the report and consider adopting the draft decision contained therein in order to move the process forward. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to open the floor for any general comments. We will then go through the proposed decision point in turn. The floor is open for your general comments. First, starting from IEB member. Brazil, you have the floor, followed by Tanzania. Brazil, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start by thanking Ghana for leading us in these consultations, and the result of which we are now seeing also in the EB, in the Secretariat report to the EB. This is a very important issue for Brazil and for all other member states, and it's a crucial governance issue. And here, as Brazil sees it, there is some tension or some interaction between a call for more engagement of candidates with the membership, and on the other hand, the duration of the campaign, the electoral campaign, and the costs associated with the electoral campaign. This is the basic interaction or main elements we see in this. Taking this into account, Brazil would have a question for the Secretariat, on relating to paragraph 3 of the annex of this document EB 146/39. And the question is, would be, what is the consequence for the respective candidature if there is no disclosure or no prompt disclosure of information on grants or aid funding to other members? What is the consequence if there is no compliance with that? In relation to paragraph 10 of the annex to our document on handling of questions from member states during the forums, Brazil is of the view that both options offered by the Secretariat are rather prescriptive or excessively prescriptive, and in an area that is clearly of the member states' prerogative to put questions to candidates as they so wish. And we should there maybe think about alternatives not to restrict unnecessarily the interaction and the debates on such an important process for the organization and with far-reaching implications for the organization. On paragraph 14, Chair, on the proposal to advance the deadline for submission of proposals and candidatures in order to allow candidates to be present at regional committees meetings, we think that maybe we should reflect more upon that, or the options set out there, because in Brazil's view, the approach proposed would limit participation, or would possibly or probably limit the ability of some candidates to participate in some of the meetings. That would have a cost implication, as noted by paragraph 21, an important cost implication as noted in paragraph 21 of the document. That would conflict also, in Brazil's view, with what is said in paragraph 12 of the document about the costs of an additional forum in Geneva, an additional opportunity for candidates to engage with member states in Geneva, where a far broader audience will be present. So Brazil would not be in a position to follow what's proposed, for instance, in subparagraph 5 of the draft decision in that regard. Because apart from, on top of what I've just said, that would implicate more cost for the organization and for the candidates, and could deepen the imbalances and asymmetries among candidatures of member states according to their financial capacities to support their candidatures, and that would most certainly come to the detriment of developing countries' candidates. And in our view, our strong view is that Geneva is the place for this conversation, this interaction to happen in a more inclusive way and a more cost-effective way. In that regard, a second forum between the EB and the World Health Assembly would be a far better solution than having the candidatures being presented before or earlier, and having them at the regional committees as a compulsory part, almost compulsory part of their campaign. And finally, Chair, on the independent unit at arm's length from any internal candidates, Brazil values that proposal. We share that concern, but the question that remains for us is that unity would report to whom in case there is something to report about. That would be a precision or a clarification from the Secretariat we would very much appreciate. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I have the following speakers list: Tanzania, Australia, United States. May I give floor to Tanzania, followed by Australia, then the United States.
Thank you very much, Chair. Tanzania is honored to take the floor on behalf of the 47 member states of the Africa region related to this item. We congratulate the chairperson for his role in chairing the discussions which are aimed at improving the election process in the future. Furthermore, we would like to express our appreciation to the Secretariat for conducting a transparent election process in 2017. The region would like to make a few remarks on some paragraphs in the report as follows. First, in relation to the Code of Conduct, the region fully supports a declaration of the amount and funds to be used in elections. In addition, we strongly support coming up with an independent body to oversee compliance with the Code of Conduct. This body or committee will assist in ensuring that there is a fair and transparent election process. Secondly, on candidature forums, exchange and interactions, and how best to ensure fairness for questions which are addressed to candidates and evolving duplication, the region supports para 10A, merging the questions and asking all candidates to answer one by one. We also support the amendments made as described in para 10B, giving more time for candidates to answer questions to enable them to elaborate on their perspectives on the issues raised. Thirdly, on para 10C, on whether there should be an expansion of the second interaction with the candidates between the EB and the WHA, the region is of the opinion that many of the African member states will not be able to attend and suggests an exploration of an alternative and more comprehensive inclusive mechanism. Fourthly, on para 10D, the use of broadcasting candidates forum, the region is skeptical about its application in the region due to challenges of reliability and availability of internet in some parts of the continent. However, we do propose to pilot the broadcasting within the region and see whether this is going to be successful. On the voting process, para 19, the region is in favor of the current paper-based voting system as it worked well even in the most recent election. We, however, support the exploration of possibility of using a sophisticated software or technology, be it optical scanner or any other option that can be used to speed up counting of ballot papers. Lastly, the region supports adoption of the draft decision with the proposed amendments. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Australia, United States, and then Singapore. Australia, you have the floor.
Chair, and thank you for the report of the review based on such extensive consultation. Australia recognises that the 2017 election of the Director-General was a significant undertaking, and we again thank the Secretariat for its professional and efficient support. Overall, we were very satisfied with the process, noting its increased transparency and broader member state ownership, with ample opportunities for interaction with candidates. We fully support the recommendations developed through the informal consultations led by Ghana on the evaluation, and are pleased to support the draft decision to further improve the reformed election process. Chair, we have one proposed amendment which we have consulted on with colleagues and understand that it will be supported by many delegations. During our discussions on the evaluation, there was a broad agreement that webcasting the interviews of candidates would increase transparency and provide opportunity for member states not able to be present at the executive board meetings to benefit from the interviews. This is presently prevented by Rule 7 of the EB Rules of Procedure, which provides that interviews should occur during open meetings with restricted access and no official record. To address this issue and allow interviews to be webcast during future DG selection processes, we suggest the final paragraph of Rule 7 of the EB Rules of Procedure could be amended to begin as follows: with the exception of meetings at which candidates for the post of Director General are interviewed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is United States, and the final speaker among EB members is Singapore. USA, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Like Australia, we were largely satisfied with the process that led to the election of Director General Tedros. But we also appreciate the evaluation and the consultations that have taken place and have led to agreement on measures for efficiency and increased transparency and more meaningful contact between member states and candidates throughout the election process. Just a couple of things to focus on. We take note of future discussions to consider compliance mechanisms for the Code of Conduct, including the potential to make the Code of Conduct legally binding. This is a major step to look at that type of option, and we think there are significant resource implications in going that route. So as the options are explored, we would request that potential resource implications be included as part of the analysis. And for the candidates forum issue of avoiding duplication and nature of the questions, we do prefer option 1, in which member states and associate members from each region will be selected to ask a question before opening the question and answer to all interested member states and associate members. We can support the draft decision as drafted with the proposed proposal of Australia as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last speaker is Singapore.
Thank you, Chair. Singapore supports the proposed changes to the election process of the Director General. We believe the changes will build greater confidence in the election process that will determine the person entrusted to lead WHO. The disclosure of campaign funding reinforces integrity and credibility of the voting process. Singapore fully supports the intent behind disclosure and seeks clarity on the granularity required of the funding disclosure for both member states and candidates. The proposed revisions for the format of candidates' fora and the candidates interviewed by the Executive Board facilitates greater interaction between the candidates and member states. While the 6 side events at the regional committee's meeting and bringing forward of the date of the announcement of the candidates to August would achieve said objective, it would inevitably lengthen the campaign process. As such, Singapore acknowledges the resourcing implications of such amendments, particularly to the Secretariat and by extension member states. We urge the Director General to allocate adequate resources for the implementation of the proposed changes. We nonetheless support the proposed decision that's on the table. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to suspend the meeting and we will come back. But I would like to ask Gina to help us in where to go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was just to announce that the cafeteria is open and ready to serve us all hot meals. You're certainly welcome to have lunch there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So lunch break is 45 minutes, means we will start again at 1:20. 1:20, please. Thank you.